All right, guys, Coach Joe here on another series of our Business Spotlight podcast, and I'm excited about the guest that we have on today. I have an awesome business partnership, a father-son duo, Josh and Michale Parks with Parks Pools in San Diego, California. I'm really excited to interview them today because I think they have a story where a lot of people can relate with them. And also, they've gone through some highs, they've gone through some lows, and they're chugging along. So before I get started with just talking about their story and stealing it from them, I'm going to go ahead and introduce who they are. Mike and Josh Parks. Mike, why don't you let us know who you are business-wise, what you do, and then Josh, I'm going to throw you in there as well, and you can kind of add to that. But Mike, a 10,000-foot view of you guys, family, and business. Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, that's a great question. People will ask Josh or they'll ask me, well, how long you been doing this business? And I would say, since Josh was about 16.
Yeah.
And Josh has been in the pool service since he was a teenager. I was working in manufacturing. I'm retired Navy. And then, he worked for other people. He went off to college. He came back. He worked for some other companies. And basically, long and short of it, he approached me and said, I don't know, can we maybe start our own business? Or maybe I pushed him, or maybe he pushed me. I think it was kind of a little bit of both. I was ready to be on my own. I know he was ready to be on his own. So we started with just pool service, and we picked up clients that I knew, and then friends and family, how you start that whole thing. And then you build up and you build up. And then we've been doing pool service in San Diego since, 15 years. And then later on, it progressed into doing pool solar repairs. Josh he's got the mechanical side. I was more on the business side and that kind of stuff. So, we work that together. And then the last few years, we started talking about coaching. We heard it from other business owners. Josh he can probably tell this story. You know him, Rubio, and we'd already talked about it. And then we said, we talked to another person, but then we talked to you, and you sold us on it. And that was what, almost 2 years now?
Yeah, just about 2 years ago.
Yeah, about 2 years now. And I remember the first book that you told us to read was the E-Myth Revisited, the Entrepreneur Myth Revisited. I think Josh and I cried after reading that book. And then our first couple of sessions with you we can talk probably about that later. So that's kind of so we're a partnership. We started the corporation 2 years ago, but the company and us working together has been about 15.
Awesome. And Josh, would you like to add something to that? Like, who are you? And and from a bird's eye view, like, your values and business and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. As my dad said, we talked about business. In fact, he missed a cool part of the story. No offense, Dad. We were going to start a restaurant.
Oh,
that's right. I forgot
that we were going to start a restaurant, but we had no money for a restaurant. So I had experience cleaning pools, and we did the real basic math. If you clean a pool for $100 a month, you got 100 customers, it's $10,000 a month. It only takes you, a few hours here and there. It was, the cash flow for the real dream.
Right.
Boy, were we wrong. We were absolutely wrong. And yes, it has been 15 years of one of the funnest, hardest roller coasters. I get to say there isn't, a backyard we haven't been in, is my joke, in San Diego.
Wow.
I think we've done the math. I've been in at least 10,000 backyards. In the world of pool service, repair, construction, there almost isn't anything I haven't done, or at least, put my fingers on. So we have a real working knowledge over the whole industry.
That's so cool.
We never got the restaurant.
Yeah. Well,
we're still trying to figure out the pool first.
Yeah.
So that's who we are.
Well, just having knowledge of business, I think you kind of got lucky not starting that restaurant, because restaurants have a higher failure rating than most businesses. So, especially if you've never done it before.
Yeah.
But you did say something, and this is something that both of you guys can just kind of throw your input in. You said it's been the hardest yet funnest part of your life, because you did the basic math, right? You got excited, you got motivated, you had vision, and then reality hit, right? It wasn't as easy as you probably thought. So, I don't know who wants to jump in, but talk to us through some of those early struggles.
If I might, I'm going to jump in for a minute or two, Josh, and then Josh can add in, I'm sure. Background in military supply chain, background in supply chain manufacturing does not equate to being a business owner. It equates to being maybe a good manager,
right?
Possibly knowing about supply chain issues and lead times and that kind of stuff, maybe customer service, maybe. But my math was pool service is a commodity. If I do 100 pools at 100, like Josh said, at 100, that's 10,000, right?
Right.
Wrong answer. So that was a struggle. But I would say that part of the highs and lows for me is, the privilege, the opportunity to work with my son and to watch him grow as a leader, as a business owner. And I got to tell a story, Josh, and I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I'm going to do it anyway. We first started, and he had some customers that hadn't paid him for like 60 days.
Wow.
And I think I threw out a few expletives, and I said, what the bleep is going on? Call them. Let's find out where the money is. And he struggled with just making a call. Now I can't get him off the phone. 15 years later, he's on the phone 30, 40 times a day. He loves selling, but that initial getting him over that fear, that's been a transformation. And then, and it is a struggle a bit, when you're dealing with personality types, and my strong personality, Josh's personality, and we have grown a lot, and we've come a long ways.
Nice. Yeah. And what about you, Josh? What are some of those early struggles that like stood out to you the most, like what your dad was talking about? And what did you learn from it? And what are you thankful for? And what, just run us through that.
Yeah, like my dad said, I had a really pleasing, I think I still have a pleasing personality, but in the beginning I was really good at making customers feel comfortable. I was absolutely horrible at asking for my invoice to get paid.
Right.
And so I learned from my dad on that side. The other highs and lows, a lot of it really is learning in the industry, in the pool industry. There's so much that is not taught, because no one teaches us business, right?
Sure.
And then there's no school to go to be a pool guy.
Right.
Okay. It is definitely the school of hard knocks,
Sure.
And our education is paid for by our own mistakes. We fix our own mistakes. So that's the low part of it,
Right.
And you would, occasionally, even the newest lows, you would think after 15 years, I would have learned it all, but I'm still learning every day.
Yeah. When Josh is, there is no school. Now he's got his license, right? Contractor's license, there's CPO certification, Pentair certification, Hayward, all that stuff. What he's talking about, there ain't no school on how to be a business owner. Now there might be some out there. So if someone hears this podcast, they're probably going to call in and whatever and say, yes, there is, but we didn't know about it. And I think but we were reading books. We've always been open to reading a lot. And self-improvement, self-development, but it wasn't until we started, talking with you and a concerted effort into coaching. That has been the catalyst, I think. Now we, in our business development.
And I think my dad jumps ahead a little bit because yes, it did, but it took us 3 tries. Okay, pool service has always been there, but it was pool service plus a retail store.
Failed. Oh yeah, I forgot about the store.
Pool service plus pool solar, fail.
Right,
Pool
right.
service plus remodeling, fail.
Fail.
Finally,
Wow.
when we're on our next one, we're like, we're not gonna do this again. Like we're
Yeah,
gonna figure this thing out.
yeah.
Well,
So yeah.
yeah, as Josh said,
I
thanks, Josh. That's great. The reminder of failures teach you more than the successes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I always say, and you two and I have had this conversation often. We could read all the books. There could even be classes on just the basics of building a business, but nothing prepares you more than going out there and doing it and
Mhm.
winning some, losing some. Obviously, one of the things that we talk about in coaching often is testing and measuring. If we want to know if something works, we got to test it and we got to measure it. And if it
Yeah.
works, there's still a chance that it could be done better. If it doesn't work, there's a chance that we could find a way that does work. But I don't think anything prepares us more than just to go out there and fail at
Mhm.
something and then try to do it
Absolutely.
again and try to and I joke in a serious manner that that's what business is all about. Like you'll do your research, you'll read your books, you'll learn your trade, you do all that. But if you want to build a business, you're going to have to learn by trying and failing.
Absolutely.
Doing
Yeah,
it.
I agree
So
with that. Yeah.
well, that's an awesome story. I love that you added in, the real life parts of, you failed 3 times at attempting to make something work. And I think you guys, and we had some similarities because I failed 8 businesses before I started. And I was like, but let's talk about the importance of vision and how that played a huge role in you guys not giving up because, you started
I'll
what?
let Josh address
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got great stories on division.
Oh,
So
that's awesome because vision is really kind of what keeps you going when motivation tanks and there's no more motivation to get you running. Like something has to keep you going. So, Josh, since your dad kind of gave you that platform,
Yeah, right.
um, what,
Uh,
how
I,
important is vision and passion when it comes to succeeding? Because you failed 3 times. Your fourth time,
yeah.
you guys are doing a phenomenal job. So, talk to us about that.
I, you know, my vision for what I saw for in the very beginning, all the way back to $100 a pool times
Mhm.
100 pools with $10,000, and income back then was, I mean, in my 16s, 17-year-old brain was just inconceivable, right? Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was a lot of money, you know? And
Mhm.
so a lot of my vision was I wanted, so it really started a lot with, that income, that money, that freedom.
Yeah.
Um, as I've grown, I was just telling someone the other day, I said I look forward to having even more employees that I get to be a leader to.
Right.
And what I'm saying is the journey started with money. Yes, the ultimate goal is be an enterprise that works without you.
Mhm.
We want to make tons of money, not have to deal with the day-to-day BS
Yeah.
sometimes, but it's really grown into um, that vision of I know what a pool service company can look like, and so I continue to work on getting it to that point.
Yeah.
And then
I'd
I
like,
want to.
yeah, go ahead,
So,
Josh. Sorry, I was going to add
Oh yeah,
something.
no, I was just gonna say I want to. I know in this industry, so many employees don't get to work for the type of boss that I know I
mm,
can be, and so I want to
Mhm.
get to the point that they get that opportunity. And we have an employee right now who says thank you at least once a week for being the type of leaders we are.
wow. So
Yeah,
are you saying
well,
that
that
your vision went from wanting to be financially free? It started off as money because at 16, 17 years old, right? Money, $10,000 a month, that's like you said, inconceivable, but you thought about all the opportunities. But now it's evolved into wanting to change lives within your business, right? The
Mhm.
employees that you have.
Yes.
That's awesome. And then
I,
Mike, what
I'm
about you?
I'm going to jump in there.
Yeah.
And I like how Josh and I. Do you remember that we used
Mhm.
to walk in La Jolla Shores, Josh? We didn't have any money.
Oh
We
yeah.
had a beat up truck. We had maybe one customer, and him and I would walk at 5 a.m. in the morning on the beach, visualizing multiple
Mm,
trucks, visualizing employees. We actually got it. We got
wow.
3 trucks. We had I don't know how many pool service we finally built up to. They weren't real employees, they were friends who were helping us, that kind of stuff. But
Right.
it was constantly just visualizing that we had it, and we had it, we lost it. Then we visualized the store. We had it, we lost it. Then we
Mm,
started visualizing this. that vision, we still talk about it almost more often than not. We'd like to have this. And yes, it did start off with just money, but now it's not the money. It's the idea of helping other people, getting to a place of obviously run a profitable business that doesn't require me personally to do it, as you say. But that talking about it and actually seeing it in your head before it happens, that's crucial.
Yeah. We have a formula. It's the formula to change a mindset. It's IVVM. That's the acronym for it. It's idealize, visualize, verbalize, and materialize. And the dream start with an idea. Yeah. And then
it's real.
Visualize it. And then from the vision, you got to verbalize it. Those I am statements are huge. And then materialize. It's like, if you stop there, then you lose everything. But if you materialize,
the whole thing with what we do now, absolutely, is with the fencing, with safety fence that we do now. That happened like 3 years ago, and Josh was working for another business owner, and through a series of events, I just sat back and watched. I said, Josh, you watch. That business owner is going to implode. I see the signs. We've gone through it, and you just wait and see. We're going to take it over. Here we are 3 years later, and we're doing way more fence than we ever did before. Plus we have the full service side. Plus we have the repair side, and so just visualizing before it actually happened. And then during the pandemic, Josh and he borrowed money. We didn't have any money. We borrowed money to get plane tickets and fly out to Florida to get certified to do this. That was in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, to Florida.
That was a leap of faith probably too, right? Like
absolutely. We were both scared. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were getting into. I said, what's the worst that can happen, Josh? We go hang out at the beach.
Yeah.
No,
what was going through your mind, Josh, when you made a huge investment? And at that time, like I remember you telling me that was a big investment, right? To go out there and fly to Florida, get certified to get those to build those fences or to at least install fences. What was going through your mind?
The potential that we could find a niche that we were good at that fit who we were. I was scared. I was excited. Now, like my dad said, I already installed fence, so there was no mystery on how to do this particular skill. I don't think I could have been prepared for the type of financial income that it could produce.
Right.
But it introduced us to a basic system, and we came back and we were pretty excited. That's actually what started the conversation. We went from about 5 at that time, let's just say about 10,000-15,000, revenue, to we jumped all the way up to like 50, and we freaked out. And we're like in like 6 months, and we're like, holy moly, since it's always tapered, and we've balanced it out, and we've steadily grown it, but it would have imploded again. So it was, I didn't.
So you had rapid growth, right? And I always talk about this growth cost something. And I know that you guys kind of learned that as you grew, because like you said, toilet paper math when you start a business, 10 pools, 100 pools at 100, whatever that is. So sometimes people think, oh, if I just grow from 15,000 to 55,000 a month in 6 months, I'll have all this money in my bank account. Can you shed light on the reality of that? Mike, since you do all the numbers, maybe that's a great question for you.
Well, I mean, okay. What is it? The famous saying, or this is the Joeism, the Coach Joeism. Gross income is vanity, but profit is sanity, right?
Yeah.
So that is an absolute fact. I mean, yes, the numbers. How do I put this? It's costly to run a business, right?
Right.
Absolutely, it's costly to have employees. And that is the cost that you have to deal with all the time. The profit margins, you gotta constantly look at profit margins. You gotta constantly look at cost savings. You gotta constantly look at not decreasing your prices, but potentially raising your prices.
Sure.
Less customers, higher price. I mean, there's you know, paying for advertising, paying for employees, that, you know, all this stuff. And I remember Josh joked once, he goes, Dad, remember the good old days when we would do a job and get cash and we would just go have a good time? And I said, yeah, it was the good old days, Josh, but we didn't pay for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We barely paid rent. So, I mean, I don't know what was so good about it, but I understand his point.
Yeah.
It is stressful. But through that, you know, you're looking at the end game. You're looking at, okay, we've done this before. You know, numbers can, how do you want to say this? I don't know if anybody's ever watched The Wolf of Wall Street. You can tip over and just implode through the digits, right? It gets to your head sometimes, and you have to really just breathe, go for a walk. Josh and I have been working out at 5:30 in the morning. We don't talk about business for 30 minutes.
Awesome.
And we just get your mind right. Because, you know, I don't know if that answered the question, but, you know, finances can be a pain, and that cash flow, and, you know, that's a constant struggle for any business owner. You know, we all know business owners out there who have the same, whether you're multi-million or you're at our level where we're only making what, I don't know, a couple $100,000 here and there, but
yeah, I think you're being a little modest with those numbers, but that's okay. So what I'm hearing is, you know, growth sucks cash, right? But it's a long-term game when you want to grow. So, you know, this brings me to my next question. And Josh, you could jump in on this one. You know, it's really important that when you have a goal, you put a plan out to reach those goals, to take action on. And sometimes the plan is this growing a little too fast for my capacity? And what will it take for me to grow that fast? Because I remember when you hired your people, it was kind of like, oh, we hired somebody, but then the reality of that kicked in too, just like the toilet paper math, right? It's not just black and white. So Josh, like, I know that you